Next on WoodSongs, we're celebrating bluegrass, especially the music of Flatt and Scruggs, with multi-Grammy winner Jerry Douglas and Earls of Leicester.
I'm on a big black train and I'm moving on. I'm on a big black train and I'll soon be gone. But this big black train, it keeps moving on.
WoodSongs is made possible by Visit Lex.com, providing information and activities to visitors of historic Lexington, Kentucky. The Martin Guitar Company in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, making handcrafted acoustic guitars since 1833. The Deering Banjo Company, providing American-made banjos for front porch pickers and professionals, online at deeringbanjos.com. And by Fransky String Instruments of Prairie Village, Kansas, online at mfstrings.com.
Here on the Louisiana Hayride, his name is Hank Williams.
From the Grand Ole Opry, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys.
Hi, this is Bruce Horns. Hi, this is Kevin Moe.
Hey folks, this is Bela Fleck.
Hi folks, this is Sam Bush.
Hello, this is Odetta.
This is Joan Baez, and you're listening to the WoodSongs Old Time Radio Hour.
And now, gather the family around and sit back in your easy chair. It's time again for the WoodSongs Old Time Radio Hour, our worldwide celebration of grassroots music. Let's welcome folk singer, author, and tree hugger, Michael Jonathan.
You know, old songs are brand new to those who never heard them before, and traditional artists are brand new artists to those who hadn't found out about them before. And that's really what our show is going to be all about tonight. I'm going to start off with a song that was made popular by a wonderful banjo player named Ralph Stanley, who introduced this song, and it's been copied by so many artists. It's an old song, but it's brand new to so many folks. It goes like this. Hey, understands little Maggie, the banjo in her hand, drinking away her troubles by courting another man. How can I ever stand it to see those two blue eyes shining in the moonlight like diamonds in the sky? You know, last time I saw little Maggie, she was sitting by the banks of the sea. She had a 44 around her bosom. She had a banjo on her knee. Went like this. So lay down your last gold dollar, lay down your watch and chain. Little Maggie's gonna dance for Daddy. Listen to her banjo ring now. Yeah, yonder stands little Maggie. She's got a dram glass in her hand, drinking away her troubles by courting another man. And welcome to the historic Lyric Theater in our hometown of Lexington, Kentucky. We're broadcasting all over the world, from Australia to Ireland, New Zealand to New York, Yuma, Arizona to the Yukon and northern Canada. Over 500 radio stations worldwide, plus public television. We are celebrating the incredible world of grassroots music. Artists come from everywhere to be on the stage. You don't have to be famous to be on WoodSongs. You just have to be very, very good. And on this broadcast, we have a multi-Grammy award-winning assembly of brilliant bluegrass musicians celebrating the music, the work, the career, and the legacy of two men in particular, Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs, who changed the way people listen to bluegrass music. They took their inspiration from Bill Monroe himself. They were even part of Bill Monroe's band. They branched off on their own, and they really were very aggressive about bringing bluegrass music to the commercial masses. Most people heard the banjo for the very first time on a TV show called Beverly Hillbillies. That was Earl Scruggs and Lester Flatt, and you know this song. Listen to it.
Listen to my story about a man named Jed. Poor mountaineer barely kept his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food.
And they didn't just stop there. They continued to progress with their music, introducing, again, the banjo of Earl Scruggs. Became one of the most popular sounding instruments in the world. This is a famous song that he did, Foggy Mountain Breakdown. Flatt and Scruggs, that's who we're celebrating on this show. A multi-Grammy award-winning dobro player has gotten together with a bunch of friends of his, and they have decided to reintroduce the music of Flatt and Scruggs all over the world, and it's very successful. As we're taping this show tonight, their brand new album has been released as #1 on the Bluegrass chart. And they're going to give our audience a treat. This is a Flatt and Scruggs song that they did not record on any of their albums yet. It's called Earl's Breakdown. Please welcome the incredible Jerry Douglas and the Earls of Leicester on the WoodSongs Old Time Radio. Earls of Leicester and Earl's Breakdown. Let's say hi to the founding thought thinker behind the whole project, Mr. Jerry Douglas. 15 Grammy Awards.
Howdy, Michael.
15 Grammy Awards. That's legacy stuff for you. Congratulations on all
Thank you.
that.
That's a few.
Tell us about this whole project of Earls of Leicester. You have reintroduced the music of Flatt and Scruggs, and you've gotten everybody wondering what a Leicester is.
Leicester. Yeah, I've had some interviews where some pretty well-known journalists would walk in and said, "Tell me all about the Earls of Leicester." And I'd say, "Leicester," and they would just like go, "Oh."
Well, what made you use the Old English spelling on
Well,
this?
it just kind of, it was better than Lester Flatt and Oily Shrubs or some of the other names I had for it. But it's sort of when that one came around to me, I just said, "That's it. I stopped. That's the name of the band."
That's the one. So let's talk about the intent behind the whole project. I mean, you're very passionate. You're very serious about this whole idea.
I am. I saw Flatt and Scruggs up in Ohio, where I came from, when I was about 6, 7 years old, and then again when I was about 11, 12 years old, in there somewhere. So I'm pretty lucky. I was got to see them play live, and not many people who are walking around right now can say that. But I heard them live. I heard them on the radio when I was getting up in the morning to go to school. My father was going to the steel mill to go to work, and we either got the radio show or we had a Flatt and Scruggs record on the turntable. So it was in there. It's like J.D. Crowe and I were talking earlier, and it gets in there, and that was the kind of music, that was what really inspired me to be a musician in the first place. It really was.
Well, it's a passionate thing when artists get inspired by other people. Now, behind you is the upright bass player in the band. He has been Allison Krauss in Union Station with yourself for over 25 years. Barry Bells. Hey, you grew up listening to bluegrass music yourself. This is also part of your musical history.
Yeah, it is. I was having this conversation the other day. My dad had a big record collection, and I was kind of odd for other kids my age. First generation stuff was all I knew. I mean, his record collection was Flatt and Scruggs, Bill Monroe, Stanley Brothers. So I really didn't know anything about any of the newer second generation acts until I was almost in high school. So it was all, this was what I cut my teeth on and all that I heard around the house.
Well, Flatt and Scruggs, Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs, they really did become pioneers, along with Bill Monroe, about introducing the sound of bluegrass music to the whole world. And you've got a wonderful album that was your first album in tribute to Flatt and Scruggs, and it won a Grammy Award for their great work. They're going to do a song from this album called The Big Black Train. Please welcome them back. It's the Earls of Leicester on the WoodSongs Old Time Radio.
Well, I had the blues, but now they're gone. I'm on a big black freight train, and we're moving on. I'm on a big black train, and I'm moving on. I'm on a big black train, and I'll soon be gone. Well, this big black train, it keeps moving on. Well, if you want me, baby, better get on track. I got a one-way ticket and I won't be back. Well, this big black freight train is moving down the railroad track. Well, you cheated on me, baby, and said that you was gonna laugh every time I cried. Well, this big black train was telling you goodbye. I'm on a big black train and I'm moving on. I'm on a big black train and I'll soon be gone. But this big black train, it keeps moving on.
From the very first album that they put out, Earls of Leicester on our stage. Let's say hi to the lead singer there, the Grammy Award winner himself, Mr. Shawn Camp.
Howdy, howdy. How y'all doing tonight?
I'm going to brag on you a little bit. You've written songs for Blake Shelton, Josh Turner, Brooks and Dunn, and you had a huge hit, Pina Colada, with Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
So Jerry Douglas calls you up one day and he says, let's do some old songs together.
He called me up and he said he'd been playing on a record with Charlie Cushman and Johnny Warren. They'd been doing old Earl Scruggs, Paul Warren type stuff, and they called Jerry in to play on the record. And Jerry got over there, and I guess they got to jawing with one another. Anyway, he called me up and said, we're going to do a Flatt and Scruggs and the Foggy Mountain Boys band, and Jill thinks I ought to ask you this: would you want to be Lester? And I said, why, absolutely.
Now, did you know that you could sound like Lester beforehand? Was like this part of your shtick, or is this something that just came up right after the invitation?
I think everybody that kind of plays bluegrass tries to imitate a little bit of Lester Flatt when they're talking or playing around, But I mean, I never really locked into it until I got it with these guys. And about 8 bars into the first rehearsal, we all had to stop because it was like, I had to stop them because I'd never been in a band that close to Flatt and Scruggs. And that was right off the bat, I was like, man, I know I've got to come up a little bit here to be able to pick beside these fine gentlemen. They're amazing at what they do, and I'm honored to be here with them.
Well, you certainly give Lester Flatt a fine tribute with the way your treatment of the songs, and in the conversation of the originality of everything. I mean, you guys are pretty much presenting Flatt and Scruggs during those Martha White years.
Absolutely.
Right. And Jerry, let's talk to you again because there's a piece of Flatt and Scruggs history that you're carrying with you tonight. The instrument that you're playing.
Actually, yeah, I'm playing tonight. I'm playing Josh Graves' dobro. This is the holy grail to me. Josh Graves was the dobro player with Flatt and Scruggs from 1954 to 1969, and he, a great part of that time period, he played this guitar, and it's on loan to me.
Well,
and I'm scared to death I'm gonna.
Well, it's an honor that you would bring it on WoodSongs. We're very grateful. It's exciting to have that piece.
It's nice to be here, and it's nice to bring this instrument.
And stay tuned because we've got some more incredible history coming up in the second half hour as far as the instruments in the band. But again, dipping into the work from their very first album, this is a tune called Dim Lights. It's our tribute to Flatt and Scruggs with the very wonderful Earls of Leicester on the WoodSongs Old Time Radio.
On so true. You'd rather have a drink with the first guy you meet, and the only home you know is the club down the street. Dim lights, thick smoke, and loud, loud music is the only kind of life you'll ever understand. Dim lights, thick smoke, and loud, loud music. You'll never make a wife to a home-loving a drinking and a dancing to a honky-tonk band is the only kind of life you'll ever understand. Go on and have your fun. You think you played it smart. Well, I'm sorry for you and your honky-tonk heart. Dim lights, thick smoke, and loud, loud music is the only kind of life you'll ever understand. Dim lights, thick smoke, and loud, loud music. You'll never make a wife to a home-loving
Well, this great music is coming from their very first CD. If you want to know more about Earls of Leicester and find out about their website and everything else, how to make this wonderful music part of your home music collection, we encourage you to go to WoodSongs.com, click on the archive page. This is show number 856. Back in the early days of Flatt and Scruggs, the mandolin player was a wonderful fellow named Curly Seckler, and playing the role of Curly in Earls of Leicester is the amazing Jeff White. Let's say hi to Jeff. You were with Allison Krauss and Union Station. You performed with Vince Gill for 2 decades worldwide. You are an artist in your own right. When reintroducing music from a legacy band, I mean, it's a certain sense of responsibility to step into the role of, say, Curly, for example, and replay his music for new audiences.
Yeah, the first thing I did when I got called into this group was to go visit Curly and Johnny's mom, who Curly's married to, and just to be around him because I'd never met him, and we sang some songs for him that day, me and Laura Weber Cash, and just I wanted to get a sense of who he was, and that was a real honor for me to step into his shoes.
Well, it's certainly an honor to have you, Jeff White, on our broadcast with such a brilliant band, and the music is really wonderful. Their CD, Earls of Leicester, their self-titled CD, their first album, is chock full of all these wonderful songs. We're not done with it yet. They're going to dip back into that album again. This is one of the more popular songs from Flatt and Scruggs. It's called Don't Let Your Deal Go Down. It's Earls of Leicester on the WoodSongs, Old Time Radio.
I've been all around this whole wide world. I've been down to sunny Alabama. My mama always told me, son, never let your deal go down. Oh, honey, don't let your deal go down. Don't let your deal go down. Oh, honey, don't let your deal go down till last $4. first time I seen that gal of mine, she's standing in the door. She said, honey, I'll be a long time gone. You'll never see your gal no more. Oh, honey, don't let your deal go down. Don't let your deal go down. Oh, honey, don't let your deal go down till your last $4. I'm going down the railroad track. I'm gonna take my rocking chair. If these doggone blues don't leave my mind, I'm gonna rock away from you. Oh, honey, don't let your deal go down. Don't let your deal go down. Oh, honey, don't let your deal go down till your last $4.
It's a band of bluegrass musicians full of superstars of the bluegrass world. Together they are called Earls of Leicester, the brainchild of multi-Grammy Award-winning Jerry Douglas. We're going to be back. We're going to introduce the fiddle player and the banjo player, some more amazing bluegrass history, and wait till you meet this week's WoodSongs kids. We'll be back right after this.
This is Steve Earle, and you're exploring the world of grassroots music with folk singer Michael Jonathan on the WoodSongs Old Time Radio Hour.
There's a fine singer-songwriter and no stranger to bluegrass music. Thank you, Steve. Welcome, everybody. We are broadcasting from the crossroads of America's folk and bluegrass music, the gateway city to the beautiful Appalachian Mountains, our hometown of Lexington, Kentucky, in a gorgeous theater called the Lyric Theater. Isn't this just a wonderful place for Earls of Leicester to come? We're also broadcasting worldwide in 173 nations around the world on the radio, from South Korea to Kuwait, on American Forces Radio Network, as well as every military base in the world, every U.S. naval ship in the world, every Coast Guard vessel sailing in North America. And as always, we want to say hello to the men and women, the families that are working so hard out there. It's nice to be able to bring you some home. Nationwide on PBS, over 97 million homes across the United States. You're going to be able to see the Earls of Leicester on the WoodSongs television series. So, this is the part of the show that I really enjoy because we get to introduce our WoodSongs kids. This week, please welcome to the stage our WoodSongs kid, Grammy Award-winning banjo master, J.D. Crowe. J.D. Crowe. Lexington has been sort of a hotbed of music because of you. For years, you played at a little place here in Lexington at a Holiday Inn.
Yeah, there was a few little places. You said the word little. Yeah, there was a few of those before the Holiday Inn.
And since we're talking about Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs, very few folks, first of all, don't realize that Lexington, Kentucky, not only is J.D. Crowe here, but Bela Fleck lived here, Jerry Douglas lived here, Tony Rice lived here, Ricky Skaggs all lived in Lexington, mainly because they were basking in the bluegrass shadow of J.D. Crowe.
Well, you know, back then, I was fortunate enough to be able to have these guys in the New South. And, you know, it takes more than one person to make a band. It takes people that's reading off the same page to get the sound of one sound. Is not just an individual, it's a band sound.
When you were like 17 years old, Flatt and Scruggs had a radio show here on WVLK in Lexington.
I was 13 years old.
13 years old. And the studio was out in Versailles, Kentucky.
Right.
Versailles, Kentucky. Right? And you used to go to the studio and watch Earl Scruggs.
Oh, yeah. I would watch those. They would come in maybe from doing an all-night show. They'd drive all night to get back to do the show. Back then, that's what they did. And they would come in the radio station probably an hour before they actually had the show. The show was like 15 minutes is all it was. I think it was 11:45 on Saturday morning. And my dad would take me down there into the in Versailles. It was at the library building at the time. And we would sit there and watch them rehearse. And then when it come time, they would do the broadcast live. And I got to be right there. And I might say this, Jerry, that was BD. I call it before dobro.
Well, we're here with the Grammy Award winner, J.D. Crowe. We've got Earls of Leicester on the show. We do have, in fact, some WoodSongs kids. And J.D., I want to introduce you to 12-year-old Presley Barker, 15-year-old Clay Russell. They come from Virginia and North Carolina. And you guys like Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs, don't you? Tell me, Presley, you guys listen to that music a lot?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of that for sure.
And you're 12 years old, right? You're playing guitar, so you're Lester Flatt, right? And Clay, you're going to be Earl Scruggs on this song. Now you're here, you've got your banjo, and young Presley, 12 years old, has your guitar, and you're going to play a Flatt and Scruggs tune called Reuben. You guys ready? Presley Barker, Clay Russell, this week's WoodSongs Kids. This week's WoodSongs kids, Presley Barker, 12 years old on acoustic guitar. Clay Russell, 15 years old, playing that banjo and celebrating the music of Flatt and Scruggs. And J.D., we got the wonderful J.D. Crowe here as well. And earlier, we were listening to them, and you were talking about the importance of love when it came to music and even music careers.
Yeah, that's true. I always myself liked a lot of different genres of music. And of course, when I first saw Flatt and Scruggs, I'd never heard anything like that before. Nobody was playing that kind of music before. And just such a dynamic and aggressive, authoritative picking out of acoustic instruments that I'd never heard before. And the singing, the whole deal, the choreography, the way they worked the stage, You know, the whole package, you know. I never really seen that the way they did that before. And that's really what captured my thing about the bluegrass music. Or at that time, it was hillbilly music.
Well.
That's what it was. That's what it all was.
These two young kids are certainly reflecting that spirit.
They sure are.
Yep. So Presley Barker and Clay Russell, good job. WoodSongs kids. J.D. Crow, thank you very much. If you've got youngsters you think belong on our broadcast, we want to hear from you. You kids come from all over the nation to be on our broadcast, and we want to find out about them. Send me an email, michael@woodsongs.com. They're here. They've got a brand new album. As we're taping this show, the album was introduced this week as #1 on the bluegrass charts. Very, very deservedly so. The CD is called Rattle and Roar. This is a tune off that album, Pray for the Boys. Please welcome them back, Earls of Leicester on the WoodSongs Old Time Radio Hour.
Forget to often pray for the boys so far away. They have gone to fill your place out there. They're on the battle line in defense of yours and mine, holding up to God in humble prayer. When the smoke of the battle clears, oft my eyes are filled with tears as I see some mother's son so still. I am thankful for your prayers to the one who always cares, and I pray that I may do his will. Don't forget to often pray for the boys so far away. They have gone to fill your place out there. They're on the battle line in defense of yours and mine, holding up to God in humble prayer. In the beachhead far away goes a boy for you today, and I know he thinks of home and you. When in prayer your head is bowed, mention those who are out there now. Pray the Lord today to him be true. Don't forget to often pray for the boys so far away. They have gone to fill your place out there. They're on the battle line in defense of yours and mine, holding up to God in humble prayer.
From the brand new CD, Rattle and Roar, Earls of Leicester. You know, playing fiddle back then was a kind of a legendary fiddle player named Paul Warren. And on our show today, we have his son. Let's welcome his son to the stage, Mr. Johnny Warren. You essentially grew up around Flatt and Scruggs.
I did.
Literally.
I did. From the time I was born, I think my dad went to work with him in 1956. That's the year I was born, so that's all I heard growing up.
And your dad was fiddle player, and in the shadow of your dad, you've also become a master fiddle player. I mean, you're a brilliant musician.
I wouldn't be doing this right now had it not been for this fellow over here, Jerry. He came and played, as Jeff mentioned, or Shawn did, I guess, on our album, mine and Charlie's. And when he asked me to do that, I think Charlie felt the same way. He can tell you later, but immediately I was like all in because it fell at a time in my life that I could do it. And it's the music I love the most, is the music that my father played. And to be able to honor him and those guys that played that music is what we're trying to do here as a band.
And you're certainly doing a fine job. Let's say hello to the banjo player, Mr. Charlie Cushman himself. Now, Earl Scruggs is the shoes that you're stepping into, Charlie. I mean, that's pretty big shoes. And there's a certain amount of history that you're carrying on your shoulder about that.
This banjo is known in the circles as the first master tone used in bluegrass music as we know it. It was obtained by Earl Scruggs in 1946 as a member of the Bluegrass Boys, and he used this banjo to cut bluegrass breakdown, Molly and Tenbrooks, and such standards as that.
Let's hear the banjo. So this is the true holy grail of banjos in many ways, right? And you're holding this thing. Let's hear what that banjo sounds like. Sounds just like a banjo.
Michael, it's also very important to mention as a footnote that this banjo is the one that Don Reno used to do his complete career on, which he wrote many, over 500 bluegrass songs with this banjo in his lap.
Well, I suggest you don't drop it, whatever you do.
I'm a little shaky.
Yeah, this is going to be a great song. This is the first song recorded with this legendary banjo. Charlie Cushman is the banjo player. Down the Road is the song. Earls of Leicester is the band on the WoodSongs. Old Time Radio.
Just a mile or two lives a little girl named Pearlie Blue. Nice and high and her hair is brown, prettiest thing boys in this town. Now anytime you wanna know where I'm going down the road, get my girl on the line, you'll find me there most any old time. Now every day and Sunday too, we'll go to see my Pearlie Blue. For you hear the rooster crow, you'll see me heading down the road. Now old man Flatt, he owns a farm, from the hog lot to the barn, from the barn to the rail, he made his living by carrying the mail. Now every time I get the blues, I walk the soles right off my shoes. Don't know why I love her so, that gal of mine lives down the road.
The song is called Down the Road, the very first song that Earl Scruggs recorded with this very banjo that Charlie Cushman, isn't he a wonderful musician? Charlie Cushman. So we're here with Earls of Leicester, the brainchild of multi-Grammy Award winner Jerry Douglas. And Jerry, what a fine group of musicians you put together. Couldn't be a better presentation of Flatt and Scruggs.
I don't think I could have done anything like this without these guys. I just picked up the phone and made the calls, man. I'd been wanting to do a band like this for so long, and I just reached a point in my career when I went, hey, this is time to do it. It's time to do it. If you want to do it, now's the time. Here are the guys, make the calls. And it was just like Shawn said, we were halfway through the first song, and I got the cold chills up my back, and I said, this is it, we got to record now.
So where do you think a project like this goes? Because the Flatt and Scruggs left behind a wealth of material. I mean, you're talking about decades of working together, and you're just your second album in, all the shoots all the way to #1, first day out.
We're thinking Hollywood.
Hollywood, yeah. TV.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be Jed though.
The remake of Beverly Hillbillies with Earls of Leicester.
Yeah, I can imagine who will play Ellie Mae already, but I'm going to tell you that. And that won't be Charlie. But no, this is so much fun to play this stuff, you know, and we really wanted to reintroduce the sound of Flatt and Scruggs into the bluegrass mainstream again. I believe it's missing.
One of the things that broke up Flatt and Scruggs was that Earl was very progressive. Lester wanted to stay in that more traditional mode. So, I mean, the newer forms of bluegrass, nothing wrong with it, but there isn't a lot of the truly traditional sound.
No, there isn't, and I'm as guilty of that as anybody. I mean, when I played with that man, J.D. Crowe, right there, I mean, he taught me a lot of things about timing, tone, you know, and when not to play, which was more powerful than to play, actually, in a lot of cases. But there are a lot of things about this kind of music and the way these fellows played it, and the choreography that happened, and the way they checked into it as not just a band but a brand, you know. And they had a TV show. They had sponsors, Martha White Flour, and all kinds of things like that. They were really, a really big business rolling down the street.
And they aggressively brought it to the public in a way that the public loved. Which that is art, isn't it?
It is.
In the end, that is art.
It's definitely art.
The new CD is called Rattle and Roar. It's their tribute to Flatt and Scruggs. It is a band of true bluegrass superstars. Together, they are Earls of Leicester. This is a tune off the album called Why Did You Wander on the WoodSongs Old Time Radio album.
Out in the hills of Tennessee, and she waited alone in the moonlight. It was there that she waited for me. Oh, why did you do? Why did you ever roam? Well, you know that we always have me all alone in our own mountain leave me alone, for you knew I'd be lonely without you, all alone in our mind. Oh, why did you do? Why did you ever roam? When you know that we always have you, all alone in our own where you may be, and I hope to be with you up in heaven as we were in our old mountain. Oh, why did you wander? Why did you ever roam? When you know that we always have you all alone in our old mountain.
Earls of Leicester on a broadcast. Shawn Camp on vocals and guitar, Barry Bales on bass, Charlie Cushman on banjo, Jeff White on mandolin, Johnny Warren on fiddle, and the incredible Jerry Douglas on dobro. Thank you, guys. And our WoodSongs kids, Presley Barker and Clay Russell, weren't they just wonderful tonight? And thank you, J.D. Crow, for a special appearance. You know, this music it's like a garden, and these musicians are like song farmers that cultivate this beautiful garden and keep this music going. Flatt and Scruggs, of course, as legendary as they were started because of the pioneer of bluegrass himself, Bill Monroe. And you know, it really hurt Bill Monroe in his heart when he lost Flatt and Scruggs out of his band, the Bluegrass Boys. But you know, those wounds healed, and they eventually began playing together and performing together later on. Flatt and Scruggs were together for years and years, but because of musical creative differences, they decided not to work together. And one of the most touching things in the world of bluegrass music is the story of when Earl Scruggs went to visit Lester Flatt in the hospital and got to spend those last few hours with his dear friend Lester and talking about all the good times they had. And you know, listening to the way Jerry Douglas and the way the guys in the band interact with each other, the love that they are showing our WoodSongs kids, shows how powerful this healing process, this garden of music is. Bill Monroe himself said it, that bluegrass music, more than any other form of music in the world, has made more friends than anything else. So we welcome you to this beautiful garden called bluegrass music. My name is Michael Jonathan. I am a folk singer. I am a song farmer. We'll see you next week on the WoodSongs Old Time Radio. Good night. Well, there's our show. I hope you had a good time. We sure had a good time making it. If you'd like to send me an email, I'd love to hear from you. My email address is michael@woodsongs.com. If you visit our website, there's a huge archive page of hundreds of past shows. While you're there, you can find out how you can become a song farmer. And speaking of the archives, here's a scene from one of those past shows now. We'll see you again next week on the WoodSongs Old Time Radio Hour.
Closed captioning provided by Highbridge Spring Water. WoodSongs is made possible by VisitLex.com, providing information and activities to visitors of historic Lexington, Kentucky. The Martin Guitar Company in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, making handcrafted acoustic guitars since 1833. The Deering Banjo Company, providing American-made banjos for front porch pickers and professionals, online at deeringbanjos.com. And by Fransky String Instruments of Prairie Village, Kansas, online at mfstrings.com.